Hi, this is the Samsung Galaxy Grand Prime, which is a mid-range Android phone by Samsung. And in this video, we'll be doing a full in-depth review. This is Ranjit, and I have been testing this device for about 10 days, and I'll state the pros and cons with this device. So let's dive in the review. So here I have the Samsung Galaxy Grand Prime with me, and let me actually quickly give you a physical overview first, and then we'll move on further. And it sports a 5-inch screen, and it's a QHD screen. That means the resolution is 560 by 960 pixels. And one thing to note is that though the screen quality is pretty decent, it's not the best that I've seen from Samsung, but for the price, it's a okay device. Let me actually first talk about the pricing of this device in India. As you can see on the box, is 16,000. But I purchased this unit for around 14,500, and it's available in many online stores etc. for around 14,500 to 15,000. Let me give you a physical overview. On the top, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, and we have an indent to open the back cover. We'll open it later on. And this is the power button, and this gives you actually a metallic feel, but don't be fooled. It is not metallic. Let me just zoom in. It's still plastic, but it gives you that fake metallic feel. Underneath here is the micro USB slot, the main microphone, and on this end we just have the volume rocker. The buttons are pretty tactile and they give you a good feedback, so I have no problems regarding that. And the back cover can be opened. The rear facing camera is an 8 megapixel shooter with LED flash. This is for the speaker, and it can record video in 1080p. And this is the back. We can add our SIM card and the micro SD card, and we can also add a secondary SIM. Do note that the SIM cards are micro SIMs, not regular SIM, and the battery is a 2600 milliamp hour battery. And in terms of battery life, I was very impressed with this phone. The battery life that I was getting is actually very good, and that's thanks to the new processor that is being used on this device. That's a Qualcomm 410, which is actually a 64-bit processor. It's actually a 1.2 gigahertz quad core processor based on the ARM Cortex A53 architecture. And moving to the front, it's actually very impressive. The camera is a 5 megapixel shooter, and if you can see, Samsung says that it's a best selfie 5 megapixel camera, and I have to say the camera quality is actually very good, and even the front facing camera can record video in full HD. And now moving to the earpiece, here also Samsung did a very good job. The call clarity was very good with this device. But one thing I do not like is that it does not have any auto brightness sensor. So you have to manually adjust the brightness. And this is the standard home button that we have. This is for multitasking, and this is for the back. Another thing I noticed is that this multitasking and the back buttons are not backlit. So there also Samsung did sort of cost cutting in my opinion. But in terms of overall looks, it's a pretty decent looking Android device by Samsung, and it actually looks a lot more compared to the price it commands. Now let's talk about the Android version that we get, and again you'll see these new type of icons. And another thing is that we also have the ultra power saving mode on this device, which was kind of surprising. When you go to settings, and if we just go to about, as you can see, it's running the latest version of Android, that is 4.4.4, that is KitKat. Yes, Android Lollipop has come, but for KitKat it was running the latest version when it came out. And let's also look at the storage, and out of we get 8 gigs of internal storage. Out of that you get about 4.7 GB, but as I told you can also add a SD card. I added a 16 GB SD card, and only some of the apps can be moved to the SD card. That's the limitation of KitKat, like many other Android phones, and that's the same on this device also. So that's regarding the storage. The only disappointment is that it does not have the auto brightness sensor that I mentioned. I'm connected to my Wi-Fi network, and let's quickly just fire up the web browser, and let me just go out. Let's just go to this site, and this is the standard keyboard that we get with this one. Let's go to techmini.com, and it's going to the mobile version. We'll force it to the desktop mode, and let's just do that. If you hold this multitasking tray for a second, you get to the menus also. So let's just force it to the desktop mode, and as you can see, it loaded it actually pretty quickly. And let me try the pinch to zoom gesture. As you can see, it is pretty smooth. And let's also try going to another slightly heavy site, that's news.com. And regarding RAM, it has 1 gig of RAM. I was surprised how would be the performance, but the general performance of this device is actually pretty good. And I believe thanks to that Snapdragon 410 chipset, it's performing actually very good. And as you can see, pinch to zoom gesture is also fairly responsive. So in terms of web browsing, you will have a great experience. Another thing is that generally Samsung mid-range phones are a little bit on the laggier side, but that's not the case with this device. I've been using this device for about 10 odd days and I did not notice any significant lagging on this device. So it is handling this device pretty well. Now if we move to gaming also, here also I had actually a pretty decent experience. I could even run heavy games like Asphalt, and I also run some casual games like Riptide GP2 and Sonic Dash, and they ran very well. In fact, you can check out this dedicated video that I made regarding the gaming performance of this device. Now if we move to benchmarks also, I generally do not stress too much on benchmarks, but I did run some benchmark scores and I saved them. So let me just show it to you. And this first one was for Geekbench, and we got a score of, for single core, 470, and for multi-core that is 1445, which is actually pretty good. I also ran the quadrant and here we got a score of 12,343, and on Antutu we got a score of 20,600, which is again a pretty good score in my opinion. And via the multitasking tray, you can just switch between the apps, and you can just also hit this to close all the apps. So overall, in terms of day-to-day performance, the phone performed actually very good, and even the call clarity was good. And the dialer is the standard dialer that we get. Let me actually put it on speakerphone. Though the speaker is adequately loud in games, but while in calls, the speakerphone performance was not that great. It's not very loud. Let me dial a number and put it on speakerphone. As you can see, this is on speaker. It is adequately loud, but not very loud in my opinion. As you can see. Let me just get out. But in terms of cellular call quality, the call quality was excellent, as I mentioned earlier. Now moving to the camera. The camera on this device, the rear facing camera is a 8 megapixel shooter with LED flash, and the front facing camera is actually a 5 megapixel shooter. And in terms of camera quality, the camera quality was actually pretty good. We get the stock experience. I won't dwell too much into the camera because I've already posted a dedicated video regarding the camera performance of this device. But as you can see from the sample shots and outdoor shots, the camera performance is actually pretty good, and even the front facing camera is actually very good. In terms of video quality also, the front facing camera was very good, but again in very low lighting conditions and in artificial light, the camera tends to struggle up a little bit. So what do I feel about this Samsung Galaxy Grand Prime? As we have seen from the review, the performance of this device is actually pretty good, but let's talk about the pros and the cons, and let me just start with the cons first. And these are sort of nitpickings, I would say. The first con I noticed is that this device does not have any LED notification light. The second thing is that it does not even support the USB OTG, but yes, it does have a micro SD card, so you can use that. Also, it also lacks the auto brightness sensor. Here, I would say Samsung just skimmed, so you have to manually adjust the brightness every time. And lastly, though the speaker phone output is okay, but I felt that the speaker output was a little bit low to my liking. Now, when we talk about the pros of this device, the first thing was the battery life. Though the battery is a 2600 milliamp hour battery, the battery life that I was getting on this device is spectacular. I would say it's way ahead compared to most of the other Android phones that are in this price bracket. And easily it should last you for a full working day, and with normal usage to casual usage, it can easily last you about 2 days. So the battery life is excellent on this device. Now if we come to the performance also, it sports that Snapdragon 410 processor, and it's a quad-core processor, and the performance also was very good. I was a little bit worried that it had just 1 gig of RAM, so how would be the performance, but the performance is actually excellent on this device. Also, when we come to the camera, that's the highlighting factor of this device, and that also does not disappoint. In fact, the front facing camera is actually pretty good. Also, when we come to the call quality, that was also very good. So overall, I would say it's a pretty decent Android phone by Samsung. And if you are looking for a mid-range Android phone around the 14 to 15,000 mark, and you particularly do like Samsung devices, you can certainly have a look at this device. I hope that you found this review helpful. If you found it helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the same. Thank you for watching this video. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.